We are currently, as Deepwater, involved with 2 communities. These are the after-hours street community in Manzini town and the local drug den. And in these 2 communities, we engage with about 100 people in a month, both on the Friday outreaches that we do at night and in the drug den that we visit on Saturdays. And one of the things we have discovered is that the challenges that this community that has been growing over time. As we've watched the statistics, we've noticed that the community is growing, and there are factors that drive the whole aspect of the recruitment into the after-hours community. One of them is poverty and scarcity of resources. People are just barely trying to survive, barely trying to put food on the table, barely trying to just make a living to be able to send their children to school in these hard economic times. In 2023, our team met or encountered face-to-face the impact of this cycle of poverty when they met a lady on the streets who was expressing such deep dismay at seeing her sister and her daughter joining her in commercial sex work. She was so heartbroken. She did not want this for her children. The cycle of poverty traps people in situations that create such a sense of hopelessness and despair, and just feeling that there are no alternatives, there is no way out of this cycle. Another factor that drives recruitment is the lack of a level playing field in accessing educational or career opportunities. So young people come out of high school and there's nothing. They just don't know what to do with their lives. Those of you who've been able to visit Eswatini, it's very glaring right before us, you know. A lot find it hard to progress beyond primary school. Some it's the high school level of education. And so this creates a situation where many of them revert to drugs and to commercial sex work to earn a living. I'm reminded of a story of the ladies we met last year. Our team met last year. And Jen, not your typical profile of the ladies we usually meet on the streets, is very eloquent. You listen to her and you'll just see a university student in her. She's very eloquent in her English. And she was introduced to commercial sex work by a friend who saw her and heard that she was struggling to just pay for her rent. And so in that situation, she found herself in the streets, and from the proceeds of what she was making, she was taking care of her mother and her brother, and just that was her family. And so when we met, she wanted to go to university. When our team met her, she wanted to go to university. She also had dreams of starting a restaurant. And so she applied to the university, and surprisingly, they accepted her. And so again, from the proceeds of what she was getting from the commercial sex work, she was able to pay for her university. She was able to pay for her, for the things that she needs. She's buying small little things to accumulate to be able to start a restaurant, cutlery, plates, and all that. And so our team listened to her and were touched. And so we thought, how's the best way to help Jane? And so we introduced her to a business coach who is currently, this August, they did their first class. She is currently being coached into being able to engage in business, diversify her businesses, so that that can be a path out of commercial sex work. And when she attended this coaching session, when she has been with our team, one of the things she expresses is that she has felt seen, she has felt heard, she has felt loved by our team. Poverty is real. Fighting for being able to come out of this trap because of lack of education is another factor. And then there is the attitude of the church. Hey, I am a church leader. This one is a hard one for me. One of the things we have noted with a lot of concern, and this does not affect all churches, hear me, just generally, the attitude of the church is that the church has been hostile or is ill-equipped to be able to reach these people who are sitting in very dark spaces. I'm reminded of a lady, I'll call her Lucy, who stood across from where she was plying her trade. There was a church across. And this church had weekday evening meetings, and she kept feeling drawn to the worship, wanting to participate with this church. There was just something that kept pulling her to that church. And so one day she decided, let me just go. And so she went, and when she got to the door, she met the ushers, and the ushers stopped her, asking her, where are you going? And she was like, I'm here to join the church and sit and worship with others. And they were like, we know what you do across the street, and people like you are not wanted here. And she pushed the usher aside and said, I am here to listen to the word of God. And so we find that there is so much sort of like hostility in some aspects, or an ill-equipping to be able to engage this community. I want us to turn to the scriptures. And let's look at a model that has encouraged us as the Deep Water team. And I pray that the Lord will really minister to you from this passage in John chapter 4. John chapter 4. I'll run through certain scriptures here. But John chapter 4 is the story of Jesus and his disciples making their way as he was doing, but he passes through Samaria. And as he's doing that, where Jesus was going, it was going to be a very long route because Jews never entered Samaria. They just didn't like Samaritans. So Jesus was going to use a very long route to get to where he was going. But they chose to enter Samaria. And so they eventually came to a village near the field of Jacob's, where Jacob's well was. And Jesus, tired, decided, I'm not going from here. You people go buy, sent his disciples to go and buy food in town while he sat beside the well. So verse 7 is where I want to read. And soon a Samaritan woman came to draw water, and Jesus said to her, please give me a drink. He was alone at the time because his disciples had gone into the village to buy some food. The woman was surprised, for Jews refused to have anything to do with Samaritans. And she said to Jesus, you are a Jew, and I am a Samaritan woman. Why are you asking me for a drink? Let's go there a little bit. Jesus breaks the cultural norms. breaks away from the prejudice that existed between Jews and Samaritans, where Jews hated Samaritans. They didn't like them, and there's historical facts about that, why that was the case. But they never interacted. So he breaks from the prejudice that had existed historically. And then, not only that, as a Jewish rabbi, that's another layer. That's the next layer. As a Jewish rabbi, as a teacher, he not only breaks from the prejudice, but he also breaks from the cultural norms. Sits at the well to talk to a woman and he's alone. I don't think the scriptures mentioned he was alone. And he sits to talk to this woman. And he asks her for a drink. That shocked the Samaritan woman. I am a Samaritan woman. You are a Jew. We really have nothing in common. But Jesus went beyond that. And Jesus tells her, you knew the gift of God, the gift God has for you, and who you are speaking to, you would ask me, and I would give you living water. But sir, you don't have a rope or a bucket, she said. And this well is very deep. Where would you get this living water? And so she begins to argue with him. She begins to, you are asking me for water, but you have nothing. You don't have the tools to be given a drink. Jesus has already told her, if you knew who is speaking to you, I would give you living water. He sees her at levels that I don't think she understood. He saw her thirst. And Jesus tells her, anyone who drinks this water will soon be thirsty again. A lot of us have thirst. And we rely on the tools that we have, the practical, logical tools to be able to quench the variety of thirsts that we bring to the table of life. But Jesus is like, you don't get it. Anyone who drinks this water will soon become thirsty again. But those who drink the water I give will never be thirsty again. It becomes a fresh, bubbling spring within them, giving them eternal life. Wow. And so the woman is like, okay, give me this water. Then I don't have to keep coming here. So Jesus has taken time. And at Deepwater, we call it sitting at the well. To be able to listen, to engage. Jesus is sitting at the well, unhurried. He's not going anywhere, to just engage her at the level where she is. And finally, the lady's like, give me this water. This thing, I don't need to come with my tools here to draw water and come back every day. Give me this water. Okay, Jesus continues, go and get your husband. I don't have a husband. You're right. Now he addresses the real issue of her thirst. You have had 5 husbands, and you aren't even married to the man you're living with now. You certainly spoke the truth. This discourse that is happening between Jesus and the Samaritan woman brings out Jesus in a way that he sees her where she is. Our methods are not to fix people at deep water. Our methods are not to, try and solve all the world's problems at deep water. We sit at the well so that we can listen to people, see them, hear them, value them, and love them. And that's what Jesus was doing here. And so the woman is like, wow, you are a prophet. And they continue in that discourse, but specifically in verse 25, the woman says, okay, I can see. You're a deep guy. I can see that. I can see there's something more to you. But we are waiting for somebody else called the Messiah, who will come and explain everything to us. And Jesus finally reveals himself. It's a time for reveals himself. That Messiah you were waiting and hoping to meet. I am he. I am he. Jesus has called us to sit at the well as our mandate at deep water. To engage this community where they are at. Sit at the well to love on them. I am reminded of a story I'm reminded of a story of one of our outreaches. The first outreach that we did in the streets of Manzini. We gave out a pair of earrings and to each of the commercial sex workers we found in the streets. And the card message was, you are loved. That was in September 2022. Then in February, the following year, 2023, we were back to the streets. Because in 2022, around September, October there, we were organizing to give them Christmas gifts. And so in 2023 February, we were back to the streets as we were chatting with the different ladies that we met. This one particularly came to one of our ladies and she shared that she had taken that card and posted it in her room where she could see it every day and remind herself that she was loved. Again, our team did an outreach to one of the drug den we go to. Again, that same 2022. And we organized gift baskets to give to this community. So the following year, we went back to just visit them. And one of the ladies spilled the beans. Oh, I think she was high on something. She spilled the beans and she was like, oh, the gift cards you gave us, many of them sold the things that were in that gift card. In the gift basket. And so the women were almost wanting to, shut her mouth and, you're exposing us. But it was too late. She had already spilled the beans about what they had done with the gift basket. They had sold the stuff that they were given. And so our team took time to return to that drug den. But then when they returned, there was a look of relief because these women thought, because we did this thing, this team will give up on us like others have. But we were back every time, every week, loving on them, sitting with them. And there was such relief. And they realized, you people are different. You are here to actually stay. Because you see, we are not trying to fix them. We are trying to be there for them, to listen to them, and to allow they themselves, like the Samaritan woman who dropped her jars and dropped her her tools to collect water, and ran to the village to call everyone. And she says, come see a man. that the interventions are initiated from the people themselves that we are reaching out to. It's not us trying to coerce or tell them, you need this, we can fix this, we can do this for you to come out. Like the Samaritan woman, she dropped her water jars. She ran into the village to actually evangelize to the community and tell them, come see a man who told me everything I ever did. And so our interventions are to sit at the well like Jesus did, and then allow the initiative to come from those that we are reaching when they sense that God is doing something in their lives. And so finally, this woman gets the entire village. Jesus did not even perform one miracle in Samaria. Not one. All he did was to tell her, to see her, and tell her where she had been, and invite her to drink from the living water that he provided. The Samaritans came from the villages to listen to Jesus on account of her and her testimony. The transformation that had happened just by Jesus sitting at the well to engage her, to talk to her, to answer her questions, clear her doubts, and see her as a person, whereas the community had completely ostracized her. There were people who are probably not talking to her. That's why she was coming to the well at the hottest part, because she was ostracized. The other women came early in the morning. She could not interact with those women. We are reaching out to the very broken in the society. Difficult to reach sometimes. A lot of lapses, like the woman. You have had 5 husbands. And even the one, she kept repeating the cycle of her bondage, seeking for something that she wasn't finding in those relationships. And so sometimes when we are reaching out to these people, we keep seeing the lapses. They are seeking for something that they cannot find with interventions and methods and the tools they are using to try and quench an inner thirst. And maybe, as we sit here, maybe there are those who are also realizing, I need this Jesus. I need to drink from the water he provides. My life, I have spent time looking and searching and trying to fix myself and fix my situations. And, we are living in that culture of fix it yourself. But do you know there are things that you just can't fix it yourself? And that's where Jesus comes in. Jesus saw her. Jesus met her. And Jesus was able to reach her where she was. May God help us as we think about these things. And so as I conclude, how to get involved. You can partner with us by joining Deep Water for a great cause. We have grown and expanded in our local partnerships, but we do need our international partners to carry the full weight of what reaching out to the after-hours community means. And so you can commit to praying with us, and praying regularly for us. You can commit to donate to Deepwater through the cause link provided. We do have flyers behind there. And you can commit to advocate for us by following us on social media, share our links, tell people about us. You can reach us in the following social media platforms, that is Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, through our name, Deepwater Eswatini. And you can also reach us through our email provided for in the flyers. Thank you so much, and God bless you.